Hey everyone, Gene here. As you're about to hear, Bill and I had some serious connection issues with this episode, and it was entirely the fault of my modem. We actually had to get it reset from the cable company the day after all this happened. So I've tried to clean it up as best I can, but I can't guarantee there's not going to be any glitches or anything in there. So let me apologize in advance. And as a special add bonus, in honor of the connections issues that we had in this show, here is the vocal stylings of Dr. Bill Robinson.
All by myself, I don't want a podcast all by myself anymore. Gene was here, and then he was gone. His modem said go. Okay.
We don't need the explicit
It's hard
tag.
to come up with lyrics. I can't see how those guys do that on Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's
Oh,
so
I'm amazed at what they do. You know,
I think they pick those songs in advance and practice them. They have to. It's too well done.
Yeah. Well, apparently I've got some decent bars right now, but
Oh yeah, you sound much better.
yeah.
Oh, my head. What the hell was that?
Did we do those calculations correctly? Jeez.
I don't know. It's where are we, Gene? Oh my God! It's the middle of August.
August!
What happened? The last thing I remember is we recorded an episode at Eternal Con, and
Oh, man.
then Scott came to my house, and we went to Tampa Bay Comic Con, and I don't know what happened. And there was a space warp, and my furniture melted, and the dog was handing me a cigar, and I don't know what happened.
I think we missed the peak.
Oh, I guess.
Wow.
So, I think I've read some anime, and well, I guess I haven't read anime. I think I've watched some anime.
Well,
I've read some manga since we last talked. So how you been, buddy?
I've been doing pretty good. I've read anime because I've been watching it with subtitles.
Oh, yeah, I guess you know what? I was doing that too, because mine was also, it was in that episode, whenever we can find it, was brought up.
Yeah.
So,
That might still be in the space warp. We don't know.
yeah, maybe it'll get spit out of Scott's recorder in a few weeks.
Yeah, we
get that
hope.
out. We hope. Oddly enough, there's pictures from that. I put up on Facebook, but we don't have no audio to go with it. We had our on the road to Eternal Con, or actually on the road to LaGuardia recording.
Yes, and it's on the road from Eternal Con, but, you know, I have a theory why Scott hasn't produced the audio of that yet, because that means that we would have proof that he has actually seen an anime.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't want that audio out at all.
Yes, and I think we gave him some grief about his critique of our Star Wars episode that we overtook. That kicked all this off.
Yes. Hey, it came to a good end from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
People seem to like what we're doing.
Yeah, you've mentioned a few times in some messages that you've been watching Total Eclipse, which I think I had originally turned you on to.
Yes.
And then I somehow drifted away from it. Now you've picked up the flag and you're running with it.
Yeah, well, what's nice is that it's on Crunchyroll, which, for those of you not familiar with that, Crunchyroll is kind of like Hulu. It's got both a free and a paid version, and with things like Total Eclipse, which is a half-hour, give or take, television episode, if you, like I do, watch through my PlayStation, or you could watch it on the web, but I just like it on the television rather than the computer, then if you don't have the paid version, you get commercials. If you have the paid version, you don't get commercials. So it's pretty cool, and from what I understand from Mr. Giaconetti, they also have the new Ultraman series on there.
Yeah, I think you said it was being simulcast, right?
Yeah, and the way that works is when it comes out in Japan, it comes out here. Again, that's if you have the paid version. If you don't have the paid version, you wait a week. Big deal. I'm not watching it live anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been cruising through that on Crunchyroll. I've watched a little bit more Bubblegum Crisis on Hulu, and the Bubblegum Crisis on Hulu is dubbed.
Oh, so you don't... Okay.
Yeah, so that one I don't have to read, but I also can't watch it when my daughter's around because it has not so family-friendly language.
Mm.
Whereas at least if, like, Total Eclipse also has some not so family-friendly language, but she doesn't know what those words are yet when she's reading, so I can kind of sneak it by.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Of course, then she's going to get into second grade next month, and her teacher's going to call, why does your daughter know how to spell this word?
Oops.
Yeah, oops. So how about you, Bill? You've been doing some manga, from what you said.
Well, yeah, one of the things I did since we last recorded a regular episode was I dumped cable.
Good for you.
And picked up Hulu, so I have Netflix and Hulu, so which I didn't realize that Bubblegum was on Hulu, so I'll probably have to start watching that.
Yeah, they have an actually fairly decent anime selection on there. I mean, that's where I saw Ninja Scroll. That one...
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's on Hulu, but that has subtitles.
Mm.
But they also have Gatchaman.
Oh, that's on Hulu?
That's on Hulu.
I have to start looking. I've been just busy with other stuff and hadn't had time to really... I didn't get Hulu right away because we had Netflix and everybody was watching Netflix, so I'm like, everybody's watching Netflix, why am I paying for cable?
Yeah.
So, dump that and...
You see, we still have it because there's certain things that my daughter watches on... It's Discovery Family now. It was the hub that they don't have. Like she would have to wait like almost a year to get it on Netflix.
Yeah,
and she's obsessed with My Little Pony, so we kind of have to get that. In fact, that's the only reason I have the DirecTV package I do is because that's the lowest one I can have, and still get the hub. But if I can find a way to get rid of that at some point, yeah, I would go with Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, and I'd be happy.
Yeah, because, I mean, all my kids are older. Really, the only thing that my wife has been missing is the news, because I don't even watch news because it just makes me angry. So I just, one less thing to make me angry, and I think I'm saving about $60 a month.
There you go.
Not paying for that, which they try to tell me, oh, well, you could get the basic cable and it'll save you money instead of getting. I'm like, no. Look, buddy, I'm spending $25 a month just in equipment rentals. If I get rid of the equipment rental, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I had to school a guy on math, so I was perusing through Netflix's anime section, and I stumbled upon Arpeggio of Blue Steel because it had ships and explosions, and then I noticed scantily clad anime girls.
Always a good thing.
Oh, I mean, man, how could you? That was like Star Blazers, it was like Star Blazers on steroids.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're at work, do me a favor. Never Google Star Blazers Nova. Don't do it. Some of the stuff that comes up, oh man, is it not safe for work?
I gotta do that now. I'll do that later. I don't want to be too distracted. So, but no, and as if the Lost Eternal Con episode ever comes out, because we discussed a little there, it's basically there was global warming, a lot of the areas flooded. At the same time, these ships that are replicas of World War II ships. The anime takes place in Japan, but there are other World War II fleets in other sections of the world.
Okay.
But they're not really seen in this anime. Apparently it's in the manga, because I read the Wikipedia stuff about it too. Because there'll be, Missouri-class ships, Arizona-class battleships. But all of the ships that are seen in the anime are all Japanese-class battleships.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. There's only like 12 episodes, but I don't think you saw a Yamato. But I think in the manga it was mentioned, so that's why I'm interested in reading the manga now.
Oh, all right.
So, but there's like a Tongo. There's even cruisers. It's not just battleships. I should kind of clarify that. It's different class ships, but at the same time, these ships can later on in their, I guess, existence, they create. The ships have human avatars that, of course, are female.
Well, yeah, they're ships.
I think we had mentioned that. when we were in the car that, they're female. Well, they're female because ships are always called she.
Right.
So, and of course they're hot.
Well, because it's anime.
Because it's anime. So how could you possibly go wrong? So, but it's got a good story. I would highly recommend. It's a quick time burger. The episodes are about anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes in length. It's got a very catchy song to it too. That's what kind of got me roped in, because what's interesting about the song is that parts of it, of the lines are sung in Japanese and then in English, and it alternates.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then they show schematics of the ships and of their human avatars in the opening credits. They also show scenes from the episode. And then the end credits are also sometimes different in different ways. Some are very artistic. One of the themes was they kept showing the female avatars with a white background, and they were kind of like in ballet poses reaching out to one another, and it would go down in a line from person to person. And then I noticed a few episodes later, they had the ships themselves somewhat in the same, not poses, but at different angles and reaching down and connecting to each other as they went down, and it was the ship versions of what we had seen before with the human avatars.
Right.
So I liked it. It was fun. And like I said, now I've found that Kiss Anime has, at least so far I've read the first issue of the manga, and it's been Americanized, being put in the American order of reading and it's not in Japanese, so it's helpful for me.
Oh, okay.
Since I don't read Japanese.
Oh, apparently, Arpeggio Blue Steel is on Crunchyroll as well.
There you go. All right, so you don't have to get Netflix; you can watch it there. So, yeah, I would. I watched it in just a few nights.
Okay, and they have the manga too
on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, that's something about Crunchyroll is they also have manga on there.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's got volumes 1 through 9.
Okay, well, hop on over, take a look.
Yeah. And if anyone from Crunchyroll is listening, we would appreciate a sponsorship.
Yay! And then you've been doing Total Eclipse?
Yes, I've been doing Total Eclipse, and that's another one. It's got a nice catchy theme tune. It's got some nice looking women. But it's
that's the one we talked about, that the enemy was called Beta, but
yes.
It's like, isn't it like one big long drawn out name that they say like every single time?
Well, no, they said it in like the way it works is the first 2 episodes are your setup. Mm-hmm. And it gets you, it's basically the training of these young women, more or less, to become mech pilots. And you're going through the school, and then the second episode is their battle with the Beta. Now, during all this, their classroom things is, well, what does Beta mean? And then they stand up and they say it, or then they explain it. After that, it's just Beta.
Yeah, it's like I can't remember what Beta stood for, but it was like
biological,
extraterrestrial, alien that is
like adversaries of
adversary,
the Earth. Yeah.
Adversary to the existence, destroying all life on Earth. Blah blah.
Yeah. It's one huge name, but after a certain point, they just start saying Beta.
Beta.
So that's good for me.
Yeah.
But that one's very interesting because after those first 2 episodes, the character that you follow through that, then it jumps like 5 years. And she's a lieutenant.
Oh, okay. Because I think I've only watched the first 2 episodes, and then something shiny went by me called Blue Steel, and I got lost.
But after that, she is now in charge. Well, she's like the second in command of this test pilot group from all nations. And so she's no longer the main character, really. It shifts to this other guy, and he's a Japanese American. And all his life growing up, because he never knew his father, his American grandfather kept berating his mother for having slept with a cowardly Japanese.
Yeah, but, I really think he's turning Japanese. I really think so.
Well, he is so far. But it's a very interesting story, just because they're fighting these
100
incursions.
bonus points to anybody who got that joke.
So they're fighting these incursions, and he's trying to learn to use these test mechs, basically, and it's real fun, and it's a lot of good repartee between the test pilots. There's one from, I can't remember, she's from Latin America, I just don't remember exactly where.
Yeah, because I think what I remember, I think I watched the first 2 episodes. Wasn't it like the Imperial City, the Imperial capital is burning,
right,
or something like that? And it was basically everybody got wiped out, and they were the only resistance left. There was like 5 of them, and they were just the training squad.
Right, and spoilers for the second episode, everyone but the one girl dies.
Oh man, okay, maybe I didn't get to the second episode.
Yeah, I mean she's the one that you then follow to this training thing.
Oh, that sucks.
And then the focus shifts.
They like built all this interaction and stuff between the people, and
yeah, and that's what really threw me, because you're going through this, and it's like all this build up, these relationships. Oh, and this one's finally learning to accept that one, and then everybody dies.
Wow.
Yeah, it's intense, and it gives you a real good feeling for later on. When you have these test pilots, you're kind of cavalier about it, and it's like, no, don't you know what goes on in these battles? Yeah, I would recommend it to anyone. Like I said, it's on Crunchyroll, it's subtitled, real good stuff. And there was one other one. I'm on the website now. Let me look up my queue, because there was another one that I had watched the first episode of, and it was kind of odd. Really. I have no idea where it is. But it was something, it's like modern day Japan, but apparently mystical artifacts exist. Yes, it's called Dragon Crisis. And the main character and his cousin, who is nothing but fan service, find this girl, and she's apparently a red dragon, and she has all these powers, but is a little girl.
That's kind of funny, because there's one of the things in Blue Steel is that one of the early on, they do a flashback in like the middle of the first or second episode, and you find that there was a group of people that were training at a naval academy, and this one girl comes up to one of the students whose father had been supposedly a betrayer of the human forces in the past, and this girl is actually the embodiment of a submarine, because Blue Steel is a submarine.
Okay.
It's also the Iona is the name of her, and its number is like I-401. So, but she's the living embodiment of it. So it's kind of the same. And so you're saying that this little girl is a living embodiment of a dragon, or she just is a dragon in human form?
She is a dragon in human form. Apparently, they are able to switch forms when they become adult.
I see. Yeah, because in Blue Steel, they basically are a human interface, but they can also they can directly control the ship they're on, but they can also fly, create energy fields around themselves, things like that.
Okay.
And then if they get severely attacked, they can withdraw into like a little electronic device the size of your fist.
Oh.
Like a core, like a computer core.
Mm-hmm.
To protect themselves. And in fact, one of them gets so damaged, and then they can control nanites to create the constructs. And one of them is so damaged that she can't get back to her human form, so she actually takes on the form of a teddy bear. Because her and this other one, see, when they're around humans too much, they begin to be corrupted by the human emotions. Is what happens through the series too. And this one crashes on this island where there's this little girl, but I'm not going to spoil anything. There's more to this little girl than she appears. But the one takes the form of a teddy bear, so she's walking around as a teddy bear, but she'll produce these claws that come out of the bear, and she'll make this evil face, and she'll attack people. It's a fun show. So, sorry, you're talking about the Dragon Crisis.
Yeah, I've only ever watched the one episode of it because it was kind of goofy to get into, And like I said, have you ever seen Tenchi Muyo?
Yes, yeah, that's the one with one of the women is like a cat, kind of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they're all in love with him or something.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like this, except that the little girl is all over this guy. Ryuji is his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he has his cousin, Rose, it's weird because she's going around dressed in practically nothing, rubbing up against him. And this is his cousin.
Well,
I mean, wow.
Maybe it's in South Japan.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it's just like on Bubblegum Crisis, because you have a brother and sister, and in the one episode I watched, the brother comes because the sister's the one that's in charge of. They're called the Night Sabers, and it's these group of female warriors in powered armor that go up against the robots, and she's in charge of the Night Sabers. So he comes into her room at one point yelling, "Hey, I found this out, etc." And he looks around, she's not there. And he actually says this in the show. Oh, nuts. I thought I would catch her in her underwear. The sister!
Okay.
The Japanese can get a little freaky. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, in Blue Steel, there's one of the adversarial ships. She actually has a thing for the male human captain of the Blue Steel of Ionia, and like every time he's on a communique to them, or she sees him, they do the anime where she's her eyes turn into hearts and there's little hearts popping up in the air around her. Yeah. She's like, and then she's like, "I'll kill you, I'll attack you."
Yeah, maybe I'm weird in that I don't like anime that does that.
It's a little silly, but there's still enough other battle shots that it balances out. I'll just say that.
Well, it's like,
able to keep a balance.
You ever seen Slayers? There were 3 seasons of it. That Slayers does that sometimes, where they'll go. What's the term? Chibi.
I think Project Echo would do that too.
Project Echo would do it a little more often.
Yeah.
Or like Excel Saga does it way too much for me. But I prefer the ones like Star Blazers or like Total Eclipse or Record of Lodoss War. The ones that are pretty much serious the whole time. Yeah, you'll get jokes and stuff, but they won't do the, "Oh, I'm attracted to her, so I'm getting a nosebleed." Yeah, that's just a little too far for me. But maybe it's because, I grew up here and not there, so I don't get it like they do.
Well, I mean, not all of it's. I mean, Robotech was never like that. There
right.
was a lot of romance in that.
Yeah, except that, the one character that was involved in the romance was, 15?
Yeah, Min-Mei or Rick?
Min-Mei.
Yeah.
Rick was a fighter pilot, so he was at least
Rick was not a fighter pilot. He was a stunt pilot in a circus.
Yeah, but he was still...
Roy was the fighter pilot, Roy Folker.
Yes, that's right.
But so Rick became a fighter pilot, but he was still pretty close to Min-Mei's age.
Yeah, but...
He was closer than her freaking cousin, Lynn Kyle.
Good point, yes.
Who comes on to her. Again, cousins. There you go.
Yeah, we're going to get to that eventually.
Yeah.
Because Robotech's another one that I didn't see.
Curse you, Min-Mei! Sorry. Breaking my heart.
I think you just got Stella to listen to the show. But, yeah, that's one of the ones that I was aware of when I was growing up. I never actually watched it. And then it was on Netflix after, I was an adult, and now I started watching it as like, oh, this is great. Why the hell is Min-Mei here?
I still have my 18-disc set I can see from here. Bought it when they came out on DVD, when it first was released, like years ago. Now I can watch it for nothing. Next to nothing.
Yeah.
I found my Record of Lodoss War videotapes, too.
Oh, really? See, I I got rid of my actual VHSs, and I have DVDs, but I have DVDs of the second series. Are you familiar with that? You want to do email?
Yeah, let's just move into email.
Okay.
So, what do we got in email?
Well, we have a few emails. The first one comes from March.
Is that the person's name?
No, that's the date.
Oh.
No, it's from my good friend Kurt. And he said he just wrote us a message saying that he was it's not the modem that's the problem, it's my mouth.
So you got modem mouth.
Did I make something you can gargle with for that?
Motor router.
That's the name.
Weighs your modem down the drain.
That's where this thing's going if it keeps up. And he writes, I binge watched Hellsing Ultimate over 3 nights. Only 10 episodes, so not too much effort. Bit different than the 13-episode version I borrowed from a friend of ours and watched 10 years ago. Different focus in ways, more over-the-top characters, and the plot went overboard as well. Probably not worth an Anime Freaks review, since beyond some discussion of the main characters, I don't think there's a lot of depth there, unless you want to start going into meta themes and philosophizing. Though there are lots of bits that can be snarked at as well.
Snark. That's my middle name.
Unless you consider More Blood Than Ninja Scroll a positive review item. That would be interesting just to see what constitutes More Blood Than Ninja Scroll. Now, our second email came in yesterday.
This just in.
Breaking news.
Stand by for a Muppet News Flash.
Now I gotta think of what's gonna fall on me. This is from our good buddy and former guest on the show, Mr. Luke Giaconetti. And he writes, Gene the Podcasting Machine and Dr. Bill. Hey guys, thought you might be interested in this. Sunrise is releasing the complete series of Mobile Suit Gundam in the US with a new official English dub, starting with the first collection this November. They are releasing in both Blu-ray and DVD format, and Collection 1 features episodes 1 through 21. More are promised to follow. This is big news for Gundam fans. Sunrise has said they intend to import the entire Gundam franchise to the US. Not sure how completely they mean the entire, but the original getting a release is very cool. Thanks, and stay frosty, fellas. Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
Yes,
I think I've seen... I think Gundam was on Cartoon Network when they used to have Toonami years ago in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I remember I'm pretty sure that's where I saw Mobile Suit Gundam.
Mid to late 90s to 2000s, excuse me. I don't think it was on in the 80s.
No, it was definitely in the 90s because I'm pretty sure I watched it while I was at college. And I remember liking the show, and Mobile Suits, of course I'm going to like the show.
Yeah.
But I don't remember precisely how much of it I saw because...
I don't either, because I think I wasn't able...
Well, Cartoon Network was in this bad habit of they would rerun the same episodes constantly.
Yeah.
So it would be like you would tune in, it's like, oh, damn it, I've already seen this one.
Yeah, and then I think I kind of got sucked into other things.
Right.
Marriage, kids.
Life.
But
those are the only emails we got. Well, covered a large span of time, though.
And now we're all caught up in the email, in the anime email stack.
Yes, so if you would like to email us, please send it to anime@thehammerstrikes.com.
We will be happy to read it.
Yes, hey, we're happy for any kind of feedback.
Or voicemails, or dirty limericks, or Anyway. Send your own anime series you'd like us to review.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, right now we're going to finish out this season of Star Blazers, then we're going to do Akira, and beyond that we haven't decided yet. So get those votes in. Let us know what you want us to cover.
I know Paul Spataro's vote is to do Attack on Titan. That way he'll start watching it because his kids have watched it.
Yeah, I've seen the first 2 episodes of that, and holy crap, he's talking about bloody. Yikes.
I've seen the advertisements for it, and then I saw the trailer for the live-action movie. Ooh.
Yeah, if you've seen the trailer, then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeesh. Big, giant, 100-foot humans picking up people and just popping them like they were Pez.
Yeah, that's basically it. And what's interesting is, one of my coworkers actually watches it, and he says that as it goes on, it gets even stranger.
Okay.
So yeah, that could be an interesting one to cover.
Alrighty then. Well, I guess with new anime news and jibber jabber out of the way and email out of the way, I guess we'll take a break. And when we come back, we will jump into episode 17 of Star Blazers, the Balanosaurouses. I believe I said that correct.
I think you said that correct, yes.
So we'll see you on the other side.
This is Tokyo, once a city of 6 million people. What has happened here was caused by a force which, up until a few days ago, was entirely beyond the scope of man's imagination. Tokyo, a smoldering memorial to the unknown. An unknown which at this very moment still prevails and could at any time lash out with its terrible destruction anywhere else in the world.
Hi folks, Luke Giaconetti here. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Do you like giant monsters, or as they're called in Japan, Daikaiju? Monsters like Godzilla, Rodan, Gamera, King Ghidorah, or Mothra? Do you like more obscure monsters, such as Gappa or Yongari? Do you like giant heroes like Ultraman, or super robots like the Shogun Warriors? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I think you might like my podcast, Earth Destruction Directive. I'm a dedicated fan of all things Daikaiju, and I'd like to share that with all of you. Please check out Earth Destruction Directive at twotruefreaks.com. Earth Destruction Directive, where we turn your Daikaiju dreams into city-smashing reality.
Trekker Talk, a fan podcast devoted to the adventures of 23rd century bounty hunter Mercy St. Clair from the pages of Trekker Comics by creator, writer, and artist Ron Randall. I'm Darren.
And I'm Ruth. We'll be discussing the stories, characters, and art in this excellent retro sci-fi adventure series, as well as having side conversations about other areas of fandom.
We hope you'll join us as we travel from the dangerous back streets of New Guelph to the depths of outer space and everywhere in between.
Trekker Talk is available at podbean.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
And we're back. Good to hear the advertisement for that show.
Yeah, that great show.
Awesome. I can't wait to get caught up on it because my iPod has been broken and I finally got one back from Best Buy. But that's a whole nother rant. Because anybody that is friends with me on Facebook probably saw my rant that I posted on there and then posted to the Best Buy site.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I read all the other people's rants on the Best Buy site. And I am not alone in my displeasure with your company.
No, they have gone severely downhill quickly.
Oh, contraire, but let me tell you a little quick story.
Ladies and gentlemen, real life with Dr. Bill Robinson.
Apparently, this whole trend is not just Best Buy, because I had touted the virtues of H.H. Gregg, which I still like their customer service way better than Best Buy. But because the whole thing with Best Buy was they said, after I got the runaround for 45 minutes because they couldn't figure out how to process my broken iPod, then they said, oh, we're going to send you a box. Box? For what? Well, yeah, you got to send this to Apple. And by the way, they don't sell this model anymore, so this is on back order. So we don't know when you're going to get one. Okay. So I finally got one back. Nobody even told me. I was just sitting on the couch, and I looked down and I go, oh, the box is back. Is anybody going to tell me this? I've only been jonesing and no podcasts. I've been trying to download podcasts on my phone for like 3 weeks. I think somebody around this place could have told me the box is back. So I opened it up. Hey, there's a new iPod in there. And, of course, it's dead, and I had to charge it up. But now I'm finally getting caught back up on podcasts. But anyway, getting back to H.H. Gregg. H.H. Gregg, my daughter's backlight on her laptop went. Okay. So I go rolling there thinking, hey, they're just going to give me a new laptop or whatever. Oh, yeah, well, they're going to send you a box. I'm like, what? Well, like I was in 7. What's in a box? Put the laptop in the box. Get the box back. I'm going to have Gwyneth Paltrow's head. Spoiler for anybody who's never seen the end of 7.
Yeah, because that's just a recent release.
Yeah. So in fact, it was only just today after I got my H.H. Gregg box, beginning of the week, but I've been going crazy, and I just now sent that off today. Of course, we ended up buying my daughter another laptop anyway, because she wanted a MacBook, and we got one used. Cross your fingers, everyone, because there's no returning it. So we'll see how that goes. Because she was going away to college, and she needed a laptop, and we knew this thing wasn't going to get repaired and back before she would be up there. So anyway, that's enough of my life. On with episode 17 of Balanosaurouses. Of Star Blazers.
I want to see 17 episodes of the Balanosaurouses.
A big a fly and a meatball. Because you guys didn't come here to hear me babbling about me. You can hear that on Back to the Bins. So, Star Blazers, episode 17, Balanosaurouses. After leaving the planet of the Bee People, the Star Force is on its way to Balan, the halfway point between Earth and Iskandar. The jealous Volgar, now demoted to being General Lysis's aide, a.k.a. bitch, decides to see if he can curry favor with Leader Deathlock by defeating the Star Force on his own. Volgar employs a biological weapon which he had been developing prior to Lysis's arrival, the Balanosaurouses. Or if you watch the Japanese one, it was the Paradon Attack Squadron, I believe.
I will look it up.
Using a mental telepathy device, Volgar forms a neural link between himself and billions and billions of microscopic organisms collected from Balan. Under his control, they join into a giant superorganism shaped like a salamander swimming through space. Okay, that looks good. The freaking Geico lizard. Meanwhile, the Star Force is cruising toward planet Balan. Just cruising. Captain Avatar is undergoing an operation to treat the effects of his No. Just gonna stop there right there.
Okay.
He's not undergoing an operation to treat the effects of his. He is undergoing an operation to treat the effects of his radiation appointment. Of the radiation poisoning. However, that is only after he collapsed when they came out of a freaking spaceport.
Well, yeah.
Then he's undergoing the operation because he's gonna die. So anyway. And the remaining bridge crew are left to run the ship in his absence. What do we do? Volgar and his support squadron fly out to the Star Force and bring the Balanosaurouses to bear. Somebody's been taking Stan Lee notes. Without the captain, Derek Wildstar is forced to make decisions on his own. He fires the Argo's main shock cannons at the beast, but they merely blast it temporarily into bits. The fragments rejoin. The fragments rejoin. Finally, Wildstar resorts to the wave motion gun. which incinerates enough of the creature's mass to destroy it and gives everybody meatballs for their spaghetti forever. On Balin, Lysis goads Volgar for his failure. Meanwhile, on board the Argo, a recovering Captain Avatar commends Wildstar for his actions and for taking the initiative to lead the crew when Avatar was unable to do so. The Earth has 263 days left. Hurry, Star Force. Hurry.
Yeah, apparently the name of this episode in the Japanese was Charge, Balanosaurouses Special Attack Group.
Okay.
Whatever.
Let me see. The first note I have from this is Mark Venture, Intergalactic Tom Tom.
See, mine was, scheduling. Thrilling viewing.
Because he's like, well, it would take us 10 days to get out of the solar system, and then it would take us 10 more days. So it was going to take you 10 days to get out of the solar system, and only another 10 days to get out of the galaxy?
Yeah, well, space warp.
What? What? Space warp? No, space warp. Well, whatever. And, oh, man. Lysis, man, he just cannot stand Volgar.
No, he runs him. He's on his back constantly.
He treats him better in the Japanese version, though, than he does in the American, because I was able to watch at least 3/4 to half of the Japanese version of the first one. Mm-hmm. And Lysis is not well, he's also a different name over there, but let's just to make it easy. Lysis is not the condescending prick that he is that he is in the English version.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, see, I haven't watched the Japanese version, but I do know that there was as we had discussed this prior to recording, the first time, that there was a deleted scene in this in Volgar's room, where he is actually throwing things around at his aide, basically, and the reason it was cut is because he has 2 half-naked concubines in there. They're basically wearing helmets and capes and panties, and that's it.
And he's got some of the weirdest furniture in there.
Yeah, well, we saw this before when Lysis went in and tore the place up.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. he insulted him for his taste.
Yeah. Speaking of taste, is it really in good taste to go into surgery wearing your hat?
That was one of my notes. Okay, not just that. Nobody could bother to take it off. They even put the oxygen whatever thing over the top. He was still wearing his hat inside. Did you notice that?
Yes. I think that's the only reason they put the helmet on him, where a face mask would do. They had to put the helmet on because the hat wasn't sterile.
I was like, what? I'm like, and Dr. Sane did everything he could except remove his freaking hat.
But we did get Dr. Say in the episode.
Yes, we did. And I love the one scene where Volgar is talking to Lysis and he's like so excited or whatever, and he goes cross-eyed. He's going, I'm going to destroy the Star Force, and then he's like, he makes a smile and his eyes go boing.
Yeah, he's just like, completely insane in this.
Yeah, he's like over the edge, and then he goes out and creates the giant spicy meatball. It's a spicy meatball.
Well, it is after the way Motion Gun got through with it.
Oh, well, okay. I'm a little confused. All right. That he was able to generate that thing make all those little pieces, create that giant ball, rolls out of the primordial goo sea, breaks through the atmosphere on its own, is flying through space. He does all his little phony drills attacking the dummy Argo.
Right.
Which that kind of threw me at first. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Why didn't he even fire? What's going on? Oh, okay. It's dummy. It's
right. Yeah, that's my note was that was a real jarring music change. You know, because all of a sudden it's this weird music change as, it's a dummy ship. Okay.
Okay, so it did all this. Why then, when he has the real confrontation with the Argo, why did those things have to be transported in little green ships and then open up and drop it out?
I don't know.
Did it get tired? I mean,
they didn't want to waste the energy, apparently.
Yeah, I guess. And I had a note here. that the sound effect for the Balanosaurouses was kind of cool.
Yes.
And that at one point I thought it sounded vaguely of Godzilla. Then when I was reading the notes for the episode in Japanese, the production note says that it was a mixture of Godzilla and basically Hedorah.
Hedorah,
the smog monster.
Right.
So I was like, cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And I don't think I picked up on it as a kid, although I'm sure it sounded familiar. But yeah, that's really nice.
It's not the full Godzilla. It's like, and then it changes to something else. It's like the start of the Godzilla. You don't get the end.
Right.
It's just the opening, and then it cuts over to a different sound.
And what I found very interesting in this episode is that they got really, really quick with firing the wave motion gun.
Yeah, real quick.
Well, quicker than... Dun, 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 dun,
and I was like, shoot! I mean, this was about, it still seemed to take about 15 seconds.
Well, you still have to show this, show that, show this, show that. Show Wildstar suddenly having a glove on to fire.
Well, maybe he's like Michael Jackson, he has one glove on. Hee Shimon. Pew! So, I had a note, basically, because everybody's up on the bridge, and so it kind of went like this. Wait, what? Orion, what the hell are you doing up here? Get your ass back to engineering. He's like, should we do that? Hey, I don't care, Baldy. Get your ass back. Who's minding the shop down there?
And what I want to know, now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't go back and watch the old episodes, but Wildstar was made deputy captain, right?
That's what I thought, because you got Venture sitting there going... Wildstar says, all right, we're going to turn and we're going to attack. And Venture goes, no, we need to take evasive maneuvers. So they keep arguing about it, and the thing gets closer, and then Orion goes, it's too close now. We can't maneuver. And that's what I was thinking, wait a minute, what are you doing there? And then he says, we're going to fire the wave motion gun. And Venture goes, no. I'd be like, shoot this man.
Get off of my bridge.
Get off my bridge.
Yeah.
It's like, shut your mouth.
Yeah, what? Why the hell is he constantly arguing? Because I could be wrong, and I'm sure the listeners will point out if I am.
No, because he's vindicated by Avatar in the end when Avatar says, you did the right thing, you did what you had to do to save the ship.
Yeah, but I could have sworn that Avatar had appointed Wildstar deputy captain, which means if Avatar is incapacitated, Wildstar is in charge.
Yeah, I thought he did too. We've had like a 3-month break.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't exactly remember, but I think that was brought up before. This hasn't been the first time he's passed out, if I remember correctly.
No, he's done that before. That's when Dr. Sane finally came in and told him, you do this, I will take you, confine you to bed rest, and you won't be in command anymore. Oh, speaking of Dr. Sane, he has a patient in post-op, right?
With, like, everybody on the ship watching him?
Yeah, but after the operation, Avatar is in recovery. He hasn't woken up yet. He's in recovery. Mm-hmm. Dr. Sane is on the bridge with the bottle.
Drinking sake.
Yeah.
I noticed that. He's like, he's on the bridge with a bottle. I need my mineral water to calm my nerves. What the hell are you doing up here? Because that was before IQ9 came out and said, the captain's awake. He's going to be okay. Hey, a little premature there, okay? There, Dr. Bot. All he did was stir his eyes and wake up.
And it must be these two don't need to be here because there was a
robot.
There's a brief shot cut from the Japanese version of Orion and Dr. Sane standing on the bridge.
Oh.
So it's just like the people that did Star Blazers probably looked at it and said, "The hell, we don't need that. Get that out of here.
Get them out of here." Yeah. That was pretty much it for this one.
Yeah, not much. I mean, it was the Balanosaurouses is one of those things that I always remembered from the show because it's such a distinctive creature that I didn't remember much about the episode itself, but as soon as I saw that the little outline Volgar has on his monitor, It's like, oh, it's that one.
And then he makes the little ones and he merges them into a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still a sap.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
Well, I guess with all our technical problems, we should probably move on to the next one before
before it dies again. Yeah.
Before it dies again, because we're gonna have to splice together like 5 recordings now.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Star Blazers episode 18, the Magnetron Wave. The Star Force encounters an unmanned Gamelon fortress floating in space, which moves towards them. Sandor, takes a plane out to investigate, more on that later, but the Magnetron waves the fortress is emitting shake it to pieces. Realizing this is what could also happen to the Argo, Sandor and Wildstar approach the fortress in a special plane unaffected by the waves. More on that later, too. Once inside, Sandor tells Derek about his brother Alex. Sandor and Alex were good friends at the Academy, and Sandor admits he felt responsible for Alex's death because he was in charge of maintaining Alex's ship. When a robot nearly surprises the two... How does one nearly surprise? Whatever. Sandor says that as a child he discovered the consequences of acting foolishly when he got into an accident on an amusement park ride. Meanwhile, the Argo, suffering damage from the Magnetron waves, prepares for a space warp which will take it out of danger but leave Sandor and Wildstar behind. When Sandor and Wildstar reach the central computer, it injures Wildstar and captures Sandor. Sandor then tells Wildstar his arms and legs are bionic, insert sound effect here, as a result of the accident, and can be removed. When they get to the entrance, Sandor says his bionic arms and legs are also bombs, because that makes a hell of a lot of sense. But he cannot trigger them from any further away than the entrance. Sandor orders Wildstar to get to a safe distance, then detonates the bombs, destroying the computer and stopping the Magnetron waves. The Argo cancels the warp, and Wildstar heads back to find Sandor, yelling for him the entire time because sound carries in space.
That was one of my notes.
On Balin, General Lysis clenches a Gamelon cigar in his mouth, which Volgar is unable to light. He chides Volgar for the uselessness of his lighter and his space fortress. Back on the Argo, Sandor, sporting new arms and legs, greets Wildstar. Derek says that Sandor's resilience gives him hope that Alex is still alive. Sandor says that if so, it will mean just as much to him as it does to Derek. Earth has only 260 days left. All right. So,
yeah,
where do we start in this one?
I think I'm going to start at the end while I'm thinking about it, because I think Sandor first gives Derek a look like, are you high? What the hell does me having bionic arms and legs have to do with your brother dying in frickin' Pluto? What? Now, I'm not going to spoil anything, but, but if you think about that statement, and in that last scene, like, Derek's got, like, his shirt open, he's showing his chest, I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're just like, I'm just casual, hey, man. I don't know. Maybe he's been smoking some of Lysis's little fishy-looking, very narrow cigars. Looks like he's smoking dope.
Mm.
Poor frickin' Volgar, man. He can't cut a break.
Yeah.
He's just so cartoonish. He's even making a face like a cartoon character trying to light that lighter, like, ooh.
Yeah, Volgar is just becoming more and more of a pathetic caricature as this goes on.
Yeah, but I guess we'll jump back to the beginning. My first note is, effing shoot it. It's like, oh my god, it's changing course with this. You can see it, right? You got a big gun in the front of the ship, right? You just blew up a giant freaking meatball last episode. Why don't you just shoot it? What's the big deal? Nobody even it's not like they even bring it up and say, well, we can't do that. They just don't do it.
They just don't mention it at all. I mean, you've got...
No, we'll do a highly dangerous space warp that only has a 50-50 chance instead of firing the big effing gun in the front of the ship.
Or the turrets of the other guns. Yeah.
That you could, okay, let's say it, because they say one thing, well, it tracks with us. Okay, well, let's say they can't turn the bow of the ship to face it to fire the gun.
Mhm.
Well, you can turn the turrets, and it doesn't. I mean, they could see it through the effing viewport. I think they could shoot it.
I would think so, yes. Well, here's, as I am wont to do, I'm going to point out a couple differences from the Japanese here. Now, in the beginning, supposedly, Sandor, who now has eyebrows and a red uniform, is flying this patrol plane. Well, no, it's not Sandor. It's an actual pilot, and the plane is completely destroyed, and he goes through explosive decompression in a rather gruesome scene. And he also had a co-pilot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the co-pilot is go bye-bye. So I don't know why, except that maybe it's I ejected, I'm fine thing. They put Sandor's voice on it when it's obviously not Sandor.
Well, because that whole eject thing, you could see, I mean, he's got no, I don't know, I guess their quote-unquote spacesuits are kind of iffy at best. I mean, he's got the little clear faceplate over his helmet, but,
right.
You know,
which
come on.
Sandor and Wildstar, when they go out later, they're in the full zero-G
Yeah, they're in some type
suit.
of suit, yeah.
But another difference is Sandor is injured in that crash, the amusement park crash. Well, another scene that got cut, and we saw some of the crash and etc. Apparently his older sister was in the car with him. She didn't survive. So that's another thing that's too gruesome for kids, basically. But in the Japanese version, she is shown as being thrown from the car, and it ain't pretty. So, but that's how he gets his bionic bombs. Can we go to that for a second?
Yeah.
Why would you walk around?
I'm sure that's perfectly safe.
Yes, with your arms and legs as bombs that can be taken off by not using a tool, not a screwdriver, not a wrench,
There's
by
a screw there.
by rubbing your shoulder.
Rub my elbow. Pop. Oh, sorry, lost my arm.
So
rub my kneecap. Poop, lost my leg.
So if Sandor ever gets a massage, he could possibly just come all apart. Wow.
Yeah.
This is another episode that I remember from being a kid because of the shock value of, holy crap, he doesn't have any arms and legs.
Yeah, that was, but it was weird also while watching it this time. It's like, it seems like a lot of this episode was, as Tom's DJ would say, flashback time.
Yes.
Because we had two one extended one and then a short one.
Mm-hmm.
So, another note, is it me or did those robots look like cooked Thanksgiving turkeys?
Yes. I was thinking of the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's on the island and where the two shipwrecked sailors wind up and he's doing the marionette of the chicken.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what it looked like to me. It's like,
this
where's
big
Bugs?
round body and these long bony little arms with no hands, just these two little bony nubs at the end, and I was like, that's a jitter being chased by turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Another note was, why doesn't the Argo stop?
You would think that would make sense. But they just, all I can think of is that they did stop, but they're already within the sphere of influence, so the fortress is edging closer to them, and that's why they keep taking damage.
It was...
Right, so seamless ship.
Yeah. So how do is just the body seamless and everything else can move individually on the inside? That was a little, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing, because if it's seamless, how do they open the cockpit?
How do they have controls that can turn, that can fly?
Right, anything, really.
Buttons, knobs.
That's one of those you just got to go with.
Yeah,
things.
you just kind of press the I believe button and move on.
Right.
And
one of the things I have to wonder about Sandor is his timing. They've been on this trip for how long now? And this is the first time, even in all the boredom that they've been going through, that you have the people, I wish something exciting would happen for once. Sandor picks now to say, oh yeah, hey, I knew your brother.
Well, better than that.
Really?
I would think with all the excitement and everything, but there had to have been boring downtime where he could have freaked somebody out and say, hey, want to see something cool? Pop. And he just pops his arm off. Holy shit! Oh my god!
I bet he would probably be getting drinks.
Or
with
go
that.
to shake somebody's hand and they pulled his hand off. Ah, my god!
Sandor, the Harpo Marx of the Star Force.
and of course, what will be the title of our episode? He's not heavy. He's my Sandor. As Wildstorm carries him out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what was going on with that computer? Because I can't find any information except someone writing about what the hell happened here.
Was it laughing? Was it crying? Was it like?
I don't know, it must have gone through that cloud that the computer that the Enterprise did in the Practical Joker in the animated series. Because it suddenly just starts laughing and the floor goes all wobbly.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, it thinks it thinks it has me, but I'll show him."
Yeah.
And
then the computer doesn't do anything else.
Like, it just thinks, "Oh, I got his arms and legs. His body's gone, but I'll keep holding them." And
I'll just go to sleep now.
Well, from this episode, we found out what Sandor's first name is, Bob. That was a very bad joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody that listens that may be handicapped. I am an asshole. The signal's going. Okay, there's no echo in space. Sandor looked like Frank Castle at the end when he's all black and everything. I swear he looked like the Punisher. Volgar can't get a break, but I think we talked about that.
Yes. Well, Sandor that's apparently a deleted plot line. According to the website, that originally they were planning on having a mutiny on the Argo, where Orion was upset that Wildstar was named deputy captain. He was going to lead a revolt. So that was probably something that was involved there. That was completely deleted from even the Japanese version. But it was just one of those things that it probably held over in the storyboards of, hey, make him look like he's, something sinister is going on. And there we go again.
Yeah. Oh, and the last note I actually had was Sandor, high five. Whoops.
Yeah, we're going. Let's wrap it up there.
And I saw when Scott and I were rolling around the day before we went to the Tampa Bay Comic-Con, in one of the comic book stores I was in, I saw a guy wearing the blue Star Blazers shirt. He had the arrow pointing down and everything. And I was like, where'd you get that? He's like, I found it online on some deal. I was like, awesome. Nice shirt, dude.
Good for him.
So, we still have somewhat of a signal because it's been horrible tonight. Next time, 2 new episodes. Which ones are they, Gene? Because I don't have it in front of me. I tried closing everything down in case I was the culprit.
Oh, I had everything closed as well. Hang on, Vamp.
Episode 19 and 20.
Yes, episodes 19 and 20. Thank you very much. That's all we can tell you right now because the connection's about to die.
Yep, signal's about to go, so we're glad we're back. We're going to get back on a regular schedule, so if anybody can hear me, we'll see you later, and have a good evening, good day, and good night. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Visit our website at twotruefreaks.com. Two True Freaks is always spelled TWOTRUEFREAKS.
You can email Two True Freaks directly at twotruefreaks@gmail.com.
Two True Freaks and all of its excellent affiliates are available on iTunes, and you can choose to subscribe to either the entire network if you wish, or pick whichever individual shows you want to follow. We have so many shows to choose from, there's just bound to be one that appeals to your particular fandom. Just search Two True Freaks with an exclamation mark at the end, space, and the number 2.
You can find Two True Freaks on Facebook. Just search for Two True Freaks.
Dumbass.
If you ever leave your house and you actually have friends, why don't you tell them about Two True Freaks?
If you've enjoyed our show, please won't you take a moment to rate us on iTunes? That helps others find the show too.
Thanks for listening.
And join us every Monday for new episodes of
Two True Freaks.